Hello, welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 189. I'm your host, Jacob Rush, and I'm joined by my co-host, Joshua Taylor, and we are back, and we are playing with Power. Josh, my friend, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, I'm doing just fine this evening.
I like that nice microphone you're talking into there, bud.
Yeah, I recently picked this thing up. One, I broke my headset for work. And two, I was also starting to do my streaming and all of that. So I was like, I was like, yeah, it's time to buy a headset.
Good. Well,
it's better than nothing.
Breaking something always gives you a good excuse to buy something, right?
Yeah, that was a piece of crap anyway, so.
Nice, man. Well, honestly, we had entirely different plans for tonight. Ryan was supposed to be here, and we don't know really where he is. We haven't even heard from him, so we changed the topic at the last minute, and we already had this episode planned, but we're doing it sooner than we anticipated. But let's not waste any time, Josh. We're starting late, thanks to Ryan, and we'll go ahead and get into what we have been radical rexing about. All right, Josh, why don't you go first, man? What are you radical rexing about, dude?
All right, so lately, really, I've been trying to put a little effort into this whole streaming thing. It's something completely new to me. I like trying different things. Started doing this show whenever that was, last year sometime. Doing the writing, and now I decided, hey, let's try this. Just kind of got my hands in a bunch of stuff. My laptop doesn't like it too well, but it's worked out okay. If anybody does want to go check it out, it's Whopper744 on Twitch. But I've been kind of putting a lot of thought into that and just seeing where it goes. I like trying to figure things like that out and see what we can do with it. And maybe if it even, can come back around and help out this whole show and all of that sort of thing, that brand, so to speak. Been putting a decent bit of effort into that. Really, other than that, just kind of the normal stuff with working from home. Looking forward to my kids' kindergarten year starting, because then I can work from home in complete peace. As long as they never send me back to the office, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, dude, I feel you on that.
I love my time with her. But yeah, that gets a little hard during the workday.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the reason why, they go to school. They do that, and they learn instead of playing around at home all the time. So, but cool, man. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's about it. What you got going on?
Awesome. Well, nothing crazy. I'm back to work full time at a job now, so that's been good. And I had Traven over yesterday, so that was fun, and we hung out. We played old games on the SNES Classic.
Yeah.
My hacked SNES Classic. And we got all the way to the final boss of Radical Rex. And it was very difficult, so we just saved it there, and we'll beat it another day. But Traven, mainly, I just watched and laughed. But hit the reset and save states for him. But because the game is stupid hard. It's not stupid hard. It's unfair, like the way they made it, like stuff. You're designed to fail a million times before you figure it out. That's how, those old games.
Like Mega Man. You hear that, Tom?
Yeah. Exactly like Mega Man. And there's no save states, and you're there to screw up and play it a million times until you master it. But with save states and rewinding, we can abuse that now. So we're kind of getting them back, like they purposely made their game very difficult. So, sorry, I'm yawning here. It's pretty late here. We're getting tired. But outside of that, nothing really. I'm just excited to, be on this week's episode. I wasn't on last week, so. But why don't we not waste any more time, my friend? We said it's late, so we're not going to waste any time for real. We're going to get into the topic at hand, And this week, you might think this is a little weird. We're a family-friendly show, and we will remain that, especially for this episode. However, we are going to talk about a pretty raunchy game, and we'll just talk about it. It's all about Conker's Bad Fur Day. All right, Josh. Wow, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Well, there I am, Conker the King, king of all the land. Who'd have thought that? But how did I come to this, I hear you say? And who are those strange fellows that surround my throne, I hear you also say? Well, it's a long story. Come closer, and I'll tell you. It all started yesterday. What a day that was. It's what I call a bad fur day.
People are going to think I played this game. I've only played bits and pieces of it. I'll jump right in. My original memories with the game. An old friend from elementary school. Don't know him anymore today, but back in the day, would always go to his place, and he had this game. His parents did not. They weren't like my parents were very Christian and very protective. His parents were like almost the exact opposite. I'm actually kind of honestly surprised that my parents ever let me hang out with this kid. But his parents didn't care. They bought him this game, and I watched him play this game. So I watched someone play Conker, and I played it, maybe just messed around a tad bit here and there on it, and definitely played the multiplayer mode against the Teddies. Other than that, that's really it. I mean, so I know a lot of the game. I know what happens. And honestly, if my mom knew I saw that, she probably would have been very upset. I mean, I wasn't even allowed to watch like The Simpsons as a little kid. Like that was no. It was the devil.
Same here.
You know, and you think my mom's gonna be okay with me playing Conker's Bad Fur Day? Absolutely not. Oh my goodness. So, but you know, Josh, you've actually played and beat the game because we know that you're going to hell.
Oh, whatever.
Just kidding. But we do know that you have played it, and to be quite frank, you know, the game outside of the rated M garbage, it's a game that's right up my alley. I mean, it's rare. It's the same feeling as it's woodland creatures. It's very Banjo-Kazooie feeling, and you know, I wish it wasn't rated M. So why don't you talk about your original experience with the game, and we can just dive into the story and go from there.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about this one, even maybe a little bit of the development, how it started, but yeah, real quick, sure. My first experience with it, I sounds like I grew up in a similar household as you. We've talked about it before. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons and things like that. But for some reason, I do remember my dad rating this one. It's kind of obvious it had the big M on it. I mean, me and him played like just about every Rare game before that together, from the SNES through the 64. So really from that time, I remember some of the beginning when, again, I know this is a family-friendly show, so I'm going to try to keep this as clean as I can. But basically, he's walking around drunk trying to find his way home. And I vaguely remember that, and my dad kind of making fun of it. Don't judge my dad for this. But
I remember that.
And then the some of the multiplayer. There's one, what is it, Thief or something like that, where you go around and like you have to steal stuff from the other team. It's actually kind of fun, but I remember playing that as like a kid, and some of that wasn't the cleanest either. But so that's about all I really remember from it my first time, because I never did get it. I kind of wish I did, just for my collection's sake, especially with the cost of it now. Yeah,
it's really expensive.
But Rare Replay on the Xbox One is when I went back and revisited it as an adult.
Is that Live and Reloaded version, or
no.
Is it it's the old school one?
Yeah, it's the 64 one. So yeah, I'll pretty much beat that same version. And
it's kind of funny, not to interrupt, but to make note of the Live and Reloaded one, like everyone thought, like, oh wow, Conker belongs on Xbox. It's an adult system. It's just for grown-ups, and they were all about Conker and his raunchiness. And actually, the Live and Reloaded is actually more edited than the original
it is.
game itself. So like it actually did the opposite of what everyone just assumed they would do, which is, I thought was a funny side note there.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I've never played that version of it, but yeah, from what I've heard, a lot of the language and stuff is a little more cut out of that. So I kind of wish I would have played that one. But I do know the multiplayer in the 64 one is a lot better. I think the multiplayer in the Xbox one is just like online only, I think. And I don't even know if that works anymore. So, but yeah, I played through it on Rare Replay like 2 years ago, I think it was, or something like that, during the summer. And it's definitely one of those I don't play with my daughter in the room. And we too had a Christian house. I'm not perfect. So yeah, I played all the way through it.
Clearly, Josh picks and chooses what he thinks is forgivable.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I did get a lot of laughs out of parts. Now, there were a couple. There's one or two things in particular that stick out in my mind. That was like, okay, that was maybe a little too far even for me, and I can handle, I think, a decent bit. But I just kind of, booked through it.
There is funny stuff in it. I mean, yeah, there's it can make you laugh. I remember laughing at parts, and I'm sure I'd find parts hilarious today. But yeah, you want to talk about our faith. As somebody who lives as Christians, there's a lot of regular things that I don't really include in my life on a regular basis as a source of entertainment from the game. But yeah, it's there. There's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, from sex to gore and what.
Not to stick on that side of it too long, but yeah, if you're like us, if you're a good Christian family or whatever you want to call it,
or even just have high morals and want to have a clean thing.
Just know yourself. You know what I mean? Be mature in your morals, your beliefs.
What do you like to consume?
Yeah. So anyway, going back into it a little bit, it really is. It's one of those things that this one's rated M, but so is Doom, for example. But I feel like this kind of has more adult themed stuff in it than something like that even does.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of the right words to say, especially so I don't contradict myself here.
Well, one thing this is my own personal opinion about it, just on the discussion of rated M. It says rated M for mature. One thing that I don't like about it is that the game entirely it's for children. I mean, it looks like it's for children. I remember asking for this game for Christmas before I knew what it was. Like, I talk about our nostalgic memories. I do remember making my Christmas list and looking through, like, the Toys R Us catalog, and Conker's Bad First Aid was there. So I didn't know what Rated M was. I didn't know what this game was. But I asked for it because it looked like a game that would be fun, that I like. But it's like the same reason why I actually don't care for The Simpsons as an adult, or I definitely don't care for crap like Family Guy and SpongeBob. SpongeBob could be questionable at times, but like South Park, I don't like. I'm not a fan of stuff that looks like it's for children being inappropriate and bad, because I as a parent, and even before I was a parent, I feel like it's deceiving, and it could fool kids. In my opinion, like, stuff's for kids, and like, it appeals more to children. And I know people will probably yell at me as they listen to this podcast. That's just my opinion. I wish garbage like that wasn't tainting cartoons, because I love cartoons, and to me they're wholesome and pure, and for the most part, and I don't like to see that garbage mixed in with it.
Yeah,
not at all. Gosh.
So this one was a funny one. I guess I'll back up to this point for a second. But, Conker started out in Diddy Kong Racing with all of those guys. That's a very kid-friendly game. And then he had what we talked about, Conker's Pocket Tales, whatever it was, a couple of weeks ago. And that one's a very kid-friendly game. Even, I don't know if, it's not that Banjo-Kazooie is adult, but it's almost like more kiddie than Banjo and Kazooie would be, if that makes any sense. But yeah, like then this one, Chris Seaver took it in a different direction, and
it was supposed to be kiddie.
Yeah,
it started out that way.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 12 Tales Conquer 64. I actually remember seeing some pictures of it in Nintendo Power, I believe, and maybe one of those VHSs from Nintendo Power got something like that. And I was pretty excited for it, and then it kind of changed, and I guess I wasn't allowed to get it. But yeah, so it was going to be sort of in that same vein, and the gameplay in a lot of ways is. So to get a little bit more into the gameplay itself, it's a 3D platformer, and it's a Rare made one, so that already sounds good. It still doesn't quite feel. I don't feel like quite as the same level of polish, maybe, or quite as good as like Banjo-Kazooie does, or Banjo-Tooie, or I'm thinking of as Banjo. I'm trying to think of another example. Even Donkey Kong 64 in a lot of ways. Minus, I know it's got some issues with its collectibles and stuff, but it just doesn't quite feel the same. But overall, I still think it's a pretty good game. It's got pretty decent variety to it. Like, there's one part where you're just going through this mansion trying to fight these, zombies or something. And you're just trying to shoot everything, and all of it's kind of fun. I think there's a part where you have to drive around in a tank or something. I'm mixing some things together, but it all feels pretty good.
Can you explain the story a bit? Like, what's the overall story here? Why is Conker having a bad fur day?
So the story gets kind of wild. I guess first off, there is a lot, like, through the whole story, especially I feel like near the end, there is a lot of like pop culture references, a lot of movie references throughout it. I'm going to kind of skip over some of that, but because
I think a lot of that makes the game timeless.
It does. It picks good ones too. It's not like, maybe this is a weird example, but this is something that kind of bugs me, is like in some newer kids movies, Illumination's kind of bad about it. They'll reference a lot of current songs and things that aren't timeless, if that makes sense. And then, like, when you watch it 5 years down the road, it feels kind of weird. But, like, all the references in this are, like, The Matrix, which is, fairly timeless. And then you've got, what else is in there?
Alien.
Alien
was huge.
Yeah, things like that. That everybody sort of at least knows of.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, the beginning of the story.
The Matrix one was cool.
Yeah, that one is. It's near the very
end.
Probably
the best part of the game, honestly.
It is. But yeah, at the very beginning of it, he is trying to return home to his girlfriend Barry after a night of binge drinking with his friends. So, skipping over some of the story here, I'm kind of reading some of the summary. Meanwhile, the Panther King, who is basically the villain in this game, who is the ruler of the whole land that Conker is lost in. This is where it gets really ridiculous, but I kind of love it. It's that stupid rare humor. Finds that the king finds that his throne side table is missing one of its legs, and he can't set his glass of milk down on it because his coffee table is all screwed up. So I'm trying to summarize this, but it's really complicated. Professor von Cripple. Okay, I'm not going to say that. His professor comes in to help solve the problem and suggests the use of a red squirrel as the fourth leg of his table. Apparently, that is the best thing to use as a replacement for the leg of this table. Anyway, the Panther King sends out his minions to go capture one. Conker happens to be that. And Conker is on his way home at the beginning of this with a hangover and ends up running into all of this mess as all of those bad guys come after him and so forth. He ends up in a bunch of different scenarios, like confronting a giant opera singing pile of poop. He gets drafted into a war between these gray squirrels and a Nazi-like group of teddy bears, and all kinds of other ridiculous situations.
I mean, that's a whole other movie reference right there. The whole beach scene. Was that Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah. It's really, in a lot of ways, like, I guess in some ways I almost feel a little bit guilty. Like, this is kind of my guilty pleasure, I guess. But in a lot of ways I really do love this, just for how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
So that's kind of the gist of the story. I won't get into the end, but the end, honestly, by the end of it, for those who have seen it, I don't know, should I spoil it? I don't know if I should or not.
I mean, it's a pretty old game, Josh. I don't think people would be too upset.
Okay, well, without going into everything that happens, basically, by the end of it, Conker kind of loses everything. Like, this is kind of a goofy, funny adventure, but by the end of it, he is the king, which he kind of reveals for some reason at the beginning. He is the king, and this is him telling the story. Forgot to mention that. Yeah. And he pretty much has everything, but has nothing. He lost his girlfriend. She dies in the middle of it. Oops, sorry about that. And, basically after the credits roll, Conker's seen at the same pub at the start of the game. I think he has a crown on or something. So he starts taking off in the other direction at the very end of it. So it's kind of got like a deep story by the very end of it. It almost has like a what's the word? Like a moral to the story by the very end of it. The little speech he has at the very end. So it's actually like, I don't know. I walked away from this actually still really liking Conker. And what's funny,
he learned a lesson through it all.
Yeah.
And I mean, it ends kind of basically pretty depressing.
It does. I mean, it kind of leaves some things open, but at the same time, it really does. And like, you almost feel bad for him. I feel like there is one part where you basically kill a baby dinosaur, and I was like, that's horrible. I don't know if you've seen that part.
Yeah, I remember it. It's one of the cross the line moments.
Yeah, but like, I don't feel like he's this horrible person, so to speak, for the most part. I mean, he likes to drink and things like that. But like, a lot of the bad things I feel like that happen in the story, he's just in the middle of it. Like, another character's doing it or something. Yeah. Whereas the one cursing, and he doesn't really, he doesn't say a whole lot of, I don't know, maybe I'm giving him too much credit.
I mean, he's kind of a smucky jerk,
Yeah.
He eggs people on and has a little attitude.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a guilty pleasure, I guess. But I got to where I really actually like the character, even in this game.
Yeah, I mean, for this reason, like, we can talk about the review of it and like the reception and like, Nintendo did not like this game. They did not want this game on their system. That's why it came out the end of the N64's life. And they barely advertised it. They really did not want to show it off much. It was kind of like I think they regretted letting Rare make it, even though they were still going to put it out.
Yeah.
Because it really went against Nintendo's image. Again, it's a cartoon game that's very, very, very... That was, published by them. And Nintendo is very... maybe this is me reading between the lines, but I think it's a part of a reason why Nintendo didn't really fight super hard to keep Rare around when the buyout happened.
I've wondered about that. Yeah, I don't think this helped their chances.
No, I mean Rare would slide in things, even in Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. You just Google it. They have some inappropriate things that they slid in there that's not recognizable by the
kid wouldn't see it.
Yeah, kid wouldn't. I didn't see it as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, I totally see it, and I'm sure that ticked Nintendo off. That would tick me off if someone did that to my stuff, and I wanted to keep it clean. So I think this game did not help their chances. However, I still think they should have bought Rare. I mean, at the end of the day, Rare's still awesome.
I wish they could have done this almost the same, but maybe I don't want to ruin it for people, but maybe like did it as a teen game. I don't know. If they wanted to make him edgy or something and have a little fun with that and be a little ridiculous, okay. But maybe it just went a little too far.
I mean, it's just what the people who are addicted to this game, who love it, no, they would tell us we're idiots.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's fine.
They love the off-the-wall, unfiltered stuff that we don't want to see.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I get that.
I think you could make this game T, and it still be just as fun gameplay-wise, and it could have a lot of hilarious humor in it that's not inappropriate. But unfortunately, that's not what people want, and likely so. Conker has set his name up to be known as a rated M character now, and he'll probably forever be that way, which at this point, fine, whatever, but
I don't know if they're ever going to do anything with him again anyway.
No, I highly doubt it. Xbox doesn't do anything with
Rare hardly at all.
Yeah, with their old IP, besides make merch now and make money off of us suckers who are nostalgic for it. But I firmly don't ever believe you'll see Conker in Smash Brothers. Put it that way. Like, people argue for Conker and Smash.
Oh no, he's not. I wish he was, but no, it's hard enough. It's like trying to get something passed in Congress to get Nintendo to put a Western character into Smash. It's a flipping miracle. Conker's not going to happen. I wish he would, but that's just not going to happen.
Banjo-Kazooie happened because they were a face of Nintendo at one point, and
that still baffles me. I'm super happy it happened, but
go back to the N64 era. Banjo-Kazooie was on the covers. They were being advertised just as much as Donkey Kong and Mario. Like, they're advertising images with Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah,
in line with next to Link and Mario
on the box, on one of the boxes for the 64, I believe.
Exactly, because it was made for Nintendo. Banjo-Kazooie was a Nintendo IP made by Rare for Nintendo. Conker was not pushed like that to the top. He was made for Nintendo as well too. I think I'm not too sure clearly on his game. I didn't play it, but Nintendo, they're not going to push that guy. They're just not going to push that guy.
Yeah, look up some of how this game was advertised if you ever get the chance. I'm not going to mention it all here, but yeah,
Ryan wanted to. Well, talk about for just fun. Like, Ryan didn't want to. He thought about it, and we just agreed it was bad. But just looking up the TV commercial. For the game, Ryan, we wanted to do it for a commercials episode. Ryan initially thought about doing it because he remembered it, but it basically sounds like a porno if you remember.
Yeah, that one's bad.
It's not a porno, obviously. It's a commercial, but they totally give off the portrayal of that something is going on, and again, plays right into the humor of who Conker is. It fit right in with that. That is for sure. So, but, you're right. There's lots more advertisements, too, for it. So, in general, Conker, I think the multiplayer was really fun. I do remember playing that a lot. The Teddy part. I think it's like capture the flag mainly is what you played with it.
Yeah, there's a what all were the different modes? Let's see. I got them right here. It was it's beach, and honestly, I just played this some of these a year or so ago again, and I can't remember what all of them consist of. But anyway, there's beach, raptor. Raptor's a fun one. Raptor's one where one person actually plays as a raptor, and I believe the other person tries to steal their eggs. Heist, that's the one where you play as the weasels and you try to steal stuff. War kind of speaks for itself. Tank, race, and deathmatch. So yeah, there's a decent variety of things. War is, I think, like the capture the flag one, so to speak. Yeah, there's a decent variety of it, and it was pretty fun. It's kind of one of those, like, the 64 has a lot of good multiplayer games. Like Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing, Smash Brothers, parties, and all that. And I kind of feel like this fits that bill pretty well, but it's still pretty adult themed. Like, that's multiplayer is a little safer than the single player mode, but violence is still very much a thing in the multiplayer.
Yeah, totally.
Like cartoon violence, I guess. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I liked the teddies too because I thought it actually was fun. And when you shoot the teddies, like their stepping goes everywhere.
That is kind of funny.
Not like really gory. It's just stuffing, So that was always kind of funny. Which again, that could pass for like a rated D thing, like if you had stuff like that in there more so. But no, like there's real gore in this game. There's real blood in this. When Conker dies, I mean, if you get slide,
he can explode.
I vividly, he can explode. I vividly remember my friend dying, like swimming in this water tank, and there's like giant propellers, and it'll slice you in half and show it. And if you die right away. Whereas in Banjo-Kazooie, you get sliced, and they just go ow and spin, and that's how they die in the game.
Yeah, maybe we're boring, but yeah, I kind of get you on that. Like a lot of
I don't like to see that crap.
A lot of this game, I do think is hilarious, and I almost appreciate some of the direction they tried from an artistic standpoint, maybe. But then, yeah, I'd rather see one thing you mentioned, like with the teddies. I know this sounds. Everybody's going to think we're a bunch of big babies. But like something like the teddies exploding and it being the fuzz or whatever, kind of like it's the blood. Almost find that more funny. You know what I mean? And a little more creative, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Again, I think something like if they could have thought of more like kind of funny, creative ways to kind of pull that off and still kind of get away with it, because I feel like Rare can usually do that pretty well. I think they could have made it like a teen-rated one still and just
probably
knocked some things down a level or changed some things a little bit here and there. But whatever.
No, I'm with
it.
you.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But overall, the game, it didn't sell very well. Like I said, Nintendo kind of kept it hush-hush. It's a cult classic for a certain crowd of people. And, it's one of those games where I wish it really wasn't rated M. Because I've thought about, would I ever play it? And there's been times like, yeah, I think I would. But then I'm just like, I can't. I just can't. I mean, it goes... I have a rule, man. Like
I don't think you could. I know you, and I don't think
I'd feel too guilty, and I'd feel like a hypocrite. Like I have a rule that it's the same rule for watching something, whether it's a movie or a TV show or playing something. If I would have to turn the TV off because someone walked in right away or changed the channel, then I shouldn't be playing that or consuming that, because our eyes are a pathway to our heart, and to me there's just crossing lines, and again, that's me. Everyone walks their own path, and other people can handle things better than I can't handle gore. I absolutely cannot. I hate it. It mentally disturbs me, and it doesn't leave my mind for a while. Like, that's why I can't watch horror. I don't watch horror movies, because it stays in my mind. It doesn't just leave me when the movie's over. It stays in my mind for a while. And, so I have to be very careful about guarding my heart with that stuff. So, but besides that, I don't think Conker's going to ever see the light of day again. I mean, I really don't. I mean, okay, never say never. We do know that he had that sequel come out that was made. It was like a fan sequel, and they also tried to do an Oculus. Xbox tried to do like an Oculus thing, or where they had their virtual reality, where it was called Young Conker, and it looked nothing like them, and it didn't really go anywhere. So basically, with Conker, there's just been a lot of failed attempts for him moving forward, which just, again, it's just sad. I really just don't quite understand why Xbox. I mean, I get Banjo. Banjo isn't for their crowd. Banjo is for a Nintendo crowd more so. The proof is in the pudding. Look at Smash Brothers. People want to argue with me on that. Banjo is more for Nintendo. However, Conker could have in the past. Maybe they're not the same Xbox. I know they're not the same Xbox they used to be, but Conker really could have been a front face for Xbox, and it's really kind of a shame that Xbox didn't take that chance with Conker.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that I've tried to think back to, like, hey, if Nintendo still had Rare, not to get on that train too long tonight, but like, where would series like Banjo-Kazooie be, or Donkey Kong in a different direction and things like that. And I do feel like Banjo would still be used a fairly good amount. It's got to be better than what Microsoft's given them. But
yeah, absolutely would be.
Conker, I really can't say. Like you said, that with Bad Fur Day, I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo would have ever allowed them to make another Conker game.
Either that, or they would have forced them to dumb it down and do something different.
Yeah, and I feel like at that point, after the damage had been done, so to speak, I think that would have just made people mad.
Probably.
So, I guess, again, that kind of is what it is. Yeah, this is definitely one of those games that I would like to be able to recommend to everybody if you have a way to play it, but I'm not going to. Especially,
don't endorse this game.
Yeah. There's a lot I personally enjoyed about it, and I like a lot of the story in some ways, especially near the end and just things like that. But yeah, I use your own discretion as an adult if you want to check it out. But yeah, I would keep this away from the kids at least.
Yeah, absolutely. When did this game actually get released, Josh?
When was that? I'm sorry, I had that pulled up. March the 5th, 2001. I knew it was like catching right up to those GameCube days. It was right near the end of the 64's lifespan, so to speak.
Okay, March 5th. Wow.
Oh, real quick, actually, I meant to mention this earlier. Kind of got to this near the end. Like I said, the main director behind it was Chris Sieber.
Yeah.
He is with, what is the name of that group? I can't think of the name of it, but they worked on a cell phone game and stuff not long ago. It's actually pretty good. I cannot.
The Rusty Pup.
Is the name of the game. Gory Detail, I think, is who he's with now.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
but yeah,
that's his own company, I think.
Yeah. A lot of the old Rare team. To go back on that for a second, actually aren't even there anyway. It's probably why we haven't seen. Well, part of the reason we haven't seen some of these old IPs like Conker as much anyway. I don't think this new team cares about that, which,
right.
They
all.
need to do them. If they are not going to do the old ones justice, then do what they're going to do and do it good.
Do you think Playtonic would want to take on a rated M type thing? Or do you think Playtonic wants to stay pretty family friendly?
I have no idea. But I feel like I want to say probably not. With them not being as big as I think they wish they were, which I wish they were bigger, they really deserve it. I don't think they'd take that chance. I don't know, though.
No.
I did want to mention the composer on this was Robin Beanland. I feel like that's one that's, worked with Rare a lot that doesn't always get brought up. And
still there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like back then he wasn't. I'd say he was like number 3 in the ranks of their top composers. You had Grant Kirkhope was probably his number 1. Then David Wise was a close second. And then Robin. But I mean, Evelyn was up there too. But then Robin, and then now he's basically like their head guy. I mean, he kind of just migrated into that role.
Yeah, and I really like a lot of the music from this game. I've sort of got a couple goofy YouTube playlists. You can make fun of me later of some game music. There's a couple tracks from this game in there. I can't think of sort of the main hub world and what the name of it is, but I like that one a lot. It almost has like a old-timey cartoon bop to it. It's kind of upbeat, actually. But, yeah, anyhow, I think that's about all I really got to say on that one. I know we kind of went all over the place, and we sort of have our own views on how mature it is and things like that, but
sure,
it's an interesting one. I don't know if we'll ever really see it again outside of like Rare Replay, but yeah, that's about all I got on it.
For sure. Well, Josh, why don't you do our due diligence for us and we can close this one out, man?
Sure. So you can always find us on the Nintendo Village site under the Nintendo Nostalgia whole show section there. We are also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of the good stuff. Well, I was going to let you know our Twitter name there, but it won't come up. So Nintendo_NOS. There we go. And we also have a Facebook group that we have a lot going on there, so check that out. Hit us up if you want us to shoot you an invite over there. Anyhow, other than that, you all have an awesome week. Jacob, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I hope Ryan's alive. We still haven't heard back from him. I don't know whatever happened to him tonight. So, but besides that, if he's alive, you'll hear him next week, hopefully. But yeah, you guys have a good one, and we will be back next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.